Carl Sagan, one of my heroes, and his book was The Cosmic Connection, part of the inspiration for my career. He reflected on an image that was taken by Voyager 1 on June 6th, 1990. Voyager 1 was 3.7 billion miles away from Earth at the time, and it looked back and saw it in a shaft of sunlight as a pale blue dot. Here is what Carl had to say. Look again at that dot. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you've ever heard of, every human being who ever was lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. I live utterly immersed in wonder. I get to study galaxies. Using some of the largest telescopes in the world, I tune radio receivers to detect faint twitches of hydrogen atoms. Though a single one of them only twitches about once every 400 years, they are present in such numbers that they create a continuous whisper that I can even hear on my radio. If you can ignore the signal and just hear the static, it's hard to find a frequency that doesn't have there's static. Some of that static is the whispers of galaxies, hundreds of millions of light years away. And those whispers are streaming through this sanctuary right now. From the whispers, we learn that hydrogen spins in disks equivalent to hundreds of billions of times the mass of the sun, and they spin at speeds over 1 million miles an hour. Or at least they did a few 100 million years ago when those atoms actually twitched in those very distant galaxies. Other hydrogen atoms were pulled together by gravity into stars, fusing hydrogen into helium and heavier elements, releasing the energy as Einstein's famous equation E equals mc squared describes. Our own local star, the sun, is doing this right now, converting over 6,000 aircraft carrier masses of hydrogen into helium per second. Of over 6,000 converted, 45 aircraft carrier masses of hydrogen are turned completely into energy every second. That light is streaming into this room from the daylight outside. Look at it in this sanctuary and count by 45s. 45, 90, 135, 180, 225, 270. Aircraft carrier masses of hydrogen turned into pure energy. Yes, I'm immersed in wonder. Some of that energy is used by plants. They use that energy to convert the carbon dioxide absorbed by their leaves into the substance of themselves. And they free the oxygen that we can utilize in our next breath. Every stick has been made out of air using hydrogen, using the energy from fused hydrogen. Back to galaxies. Glittering stars swirl with the hydrogen in the Hubble and James Webb Space Telescope images, much prettier than the squiggles of my radio spectra. Among the stars are giants like Betelgeuse and Antares, or dwarfs like Sirius and our own dear sun. There are also nurseries like the Orion Nebula, where new stars are being birthed by hydrogen and gravity. This is why I'm on a campaign to make it Mother Orion. And there are stellar corpses, such as those in the Ring and Crab nebulas in Lyra and Taurus, where stars running out of their hydrogen fuel have exploded in their death throes, spewing helium and heavier elements like carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen into the swirling disks, where other stars and perhaps planets, perhaps like Earth, will form. Other greater explosions of white dwarf stars stealing mass from aging companions and merging neutron stars create the heavier elements of iron, silver, and gold. The galaxies are amazing. When I look at our sky, I know where they are, lurking behind the constellations of Andromeda, Virgo, Hercules, Perseus, Corona Borealis. The photons from their stars and whispers from their hydrogen fall on and about us like silent, invisible snowflakes. And my spirit soars to meet them, longing to cross the vast distances between us. Then I walk into my classroom. There, I get to tell my tales of galaxies and all the wonders within them. The swirling hydrogen, stars, nebulae, black holes, asteroids, comets, and planets. And I get to tell of this planet, this Earth, that without art would be just A. That's not original. This Earth, a piece of which I was gifted with this very morning. It formed with the sun in a swirl of hydrogen within the swirl of the Milky Way, enriched by previous generations of stars with all the elements we're made of, that this rock is made of, that this stick is made of. This blue world somehow nurtured chemical reactions morphing into life. Life that went wild to create worms, clams, fish, lizards, mammals, puppies. And most recently, us. Earth, with pounding seas, exploding volcanoes, glaciers, and drifting continents, has created from the stuff of stars an astounding variety of living plants and creatures that inhabit every nook and cranny, from volcanic vents in the deep ocean to the dry valleys of Antarctica. And it has created us. Yes, I walk into my classroom to tell my tales of galaxies to students who are the stuff of stars, breathing, walking, talking, and thinking, mostly about lunch. Across this whole vast universe where galaxies number in the hundreds of billions, there is no other place we know of where star stuff breathes, walks, talks, and thinks about lunch. My students are wonders of the universe right there in the classroom. And it's not just my students, it's every one of us. It's every one of you. Breathe in. Your lungs expand using long chains of carbon molecules to pull in nitrogen, which is most of what you breathe, both made in the life and death of a star, very much like the sun. The oxygen in that breath, freed by the sticks, arose from the explosion of a giant star, much like Betelgeuse or Antares. And the iron in your bloodstream, carrying that oxygen to your tissues and brain to keep you alive and alert, that iron was forged in the explosion of a white dwarf star so bright it outshone the entire Milky Way galaxy. But we don't know if there were astronomers near other stars in other galaxies to see it. The galaxy and cosmos surge through us with every breath and heartbeat. So far, we are the only species we know of to emerge from the stars with minds that look back at them in wonder, to write poetry, symphonies, and the differential equations I love so dearly. And it arose to have hearts, to sense a spirit, a creating, loving who-ness in the midst of it all. We breathe in the cosmos with every breath. What can we breathe out to add to this amazing universe? We can breathe out curiosity, understanding, wonder, and joy at being the living stuff of stars. And we can breathe out love. Love for the cosmos, love for this unique planet, and love for all of its inhabitants, sticks and stones and puppies and each other, and my students. Yes, I get to study galaxies. And the greatest wonders of our galaxy come into my classroom every day, not knowing that they are learning about themselves. Sometimes it's all that I can do to keep myself from kneeling and weeping at the sheer wonder of it all.